going to be talking about information about this upcoming trip. You don't have to even be interested, but you might know somebody else that could be interested. I was very interested to hear Pastor Marcus talking today and talking about how things set the course of your life. And with my children on outreach, actually, we might just ask, Adrian, could you just open this meeting in prayer, please?
Welcome everyone. I just want to share a verse with you first. It's sort of relevant to what Marcus was talking about today, about emotions and mind and will and all that. And we don't go to these things based on emotions. We actually have an intent and we have purpose and that. So, but it's also God, when we come to church, church is more about relationship. It's not about religion. So I picked this verse. It's James 1:27. It says, "Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world." And I think it's interesting how God actually doesn't care about religion that much. And he's saying to us, if you want to be religious, that's what I find acceptable. To put yourself out there and look after other people. The rest of it's relationship. The rest of what we do in life is just relationship. So, Heavenly Father, thank you for these people. Thank you that we have a heart for other people. And thank you that we can put ourselves out there and get out of our comfort zones and let the Holy Spirit show us new things, show us that we are just part of this great worldwide church of your people. And we just thank you that we can experience that. We can experience other people's faith, other people's walk with you, and that we can be part of it. And it's a blessing to be able to be part of those things. We just thank you for this, and we ask your blessing upon us in Jesus' name.
Thanks, Adrian. Anyone that knows me knows that I am absolutely super passionate about missions, and I'm super passionate about short-term missions, and I'm absolutely passionate about children, young children, and families coming on mission trips. I love the oldies too, but my passion is with young children and young families. 30 years ago, I took my family on a short-term mission trip, and this was our second trip. Our first trip, when I took a 13-month-old, a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, we went to the Philippines, China and Korea over 3 months. The second one we went on, we went to Japan. And in Japan we had a project, and our project was to build a church, physically build a church. So we spent 3 months there. I had a daughter turning 2 while she was there, a daughter turning 6 while she was there, and an 8-year-old daughter. And we had an amazing time building this church. And in 2 weeks' time from today, I'm going back to that church. It's incredible. And at the time when we built that church, the senior pastor was 31, the junior pastor was 22, and it was full of youth and young people, and they helped us build, and we had a project, and we built. And from that day on, that church has grown and thrived, and it's just incredible that after 30 years, we have not been back. After 30 years, in 2 weeks' time, we're going back. We're going back to this church. And so those mission trips, early mission trips, set the course of my family's life, set the course of each of my daughters' lives. Every decision they made can be taken right back to those trips. You know, they've all been on numerous mission trips. They've been missionaries. Amy, my eldest daughter's first mission trip was to Afghanistan, and she worked in the underground church there on a short-term mission trip. So my daughter Kimberly went to Nepal, and my daughter Kimberly, who's been pretty shy, was a pretty shy kid, pretty quiet, middle child. And when I took her to Asia for her first trip at 6 years of age, she just came alive. She absolutely came alive. She became a different kid from that moment we landed in Asia onwards. And she spends as much time as she possibly can in Korea, or this year she's been to Korea and Taiwan, and every cent she makes, she goes to Asia because she loves it. My other two daughters met their husbands on mission trips. So come on, guys, mission trips are fantastic, and they're fantastic for families, and they're fantastic for kids. So that's my big encouragement, and you know, if you talk to me, I will shoot down every excuse you have. We sold our home to go on our second mission trip, you know. We trusted in God for other trips, and we saw $32,000 come through in 1 week. So I'm passionate, and I'm going to share about this trip this year. So what we're doing is we're proposing, I'm not getting it on the back. Can we have it on the back at all? It's just that I don't have to look at my iPad. Okay, a trip to Thailand. We go at Christmas time, or we go at this time of the year, because it's the coolest time. We're up in the mountains, and it's actually quite reasonable. It's also reasonable temperature-wise, and we can also get jobs done if we're doing physical things. And we've done concreting, and we've done building, and we've done all sorts of things. If we could just look at the next slide. The next slide is Thailand. So Siler Home, and you hear us praying for Siler Home every week. Siler Home is way, way, way up the top there. Right up the top, you can see Chiang Rai, and it's up near the border of Burma. It's halfway between Chiang Rai and Chiang Mai. This year, I've been looking at lots and lots of airfares for many, many weeks, and airfares are always a big problem. As you would know, airfares have doubled since COVID, but they've like quadrupled at Christmas time, because everybody in the world, all of a sudden, that haven't been travelling for 3 years are now travelling. So next slide. A little bit about Siler Home. So it's a children's home, and in this children's home we have children, a lot of them from the hill tribes, from very poor families, and they would not be getting an education if they were home. Some of their families are even in jail. This whole area, there's a lot of drug trafficking, there's a lot of human trafficking happening. And so particularly girls can be very vulnerable and at risk. And the pastor there, who has no pay, the pastor and his wife, Maya, and the other staff, Palek and May Tip, they're in that photo, they do not draw a wage, they completely live by faith. I think it's been going now for how many years, Upen? 18 years, which is just amazing. It's changed a lot during that time, and it's changed a lot. We have been going, how long have we been going? 9 years. So we've been going for 9 years, and it's changed a lot, which is a good sign, because it's growing and changing and developing, and because of also a lot of government decrees that the government has put rules and regulations into place, they also have to change with things like that too. So, yeah, this is standing outside of Siler Home, the Siler Home Ministries, and I think I've said most of the things on there. So if we just go to the next slide. So I'm wanting to just talk to you today about what you can do at this stage, and also the things that we have planned. So of course, there's basically two things. You can come along, and like I've said, all ages, everybody's welcome. We will not try and outpace you. We will not try and work you too hard. We will take into account that we're a team, and we will work as a team. And if you can't keep up with this, then that's absolutely fine. If you want to do more of this, then that's fine too. If you want to teach English, if you want to paint, if you want to teach those girls to sew, whatever your passion is, we will try to incorporate that into the team. And if you can't come along, you can support the team. And I was talking to Sid earlier on, and he's going to share a little bit later how important it is to have support. So we need financial support. We need people that can be informed. We need emotional support. But most of all, we need prayer support at home. We cannot do this without that support team, those support people, and that prayer support. Next slide. So this is again my big thing for families. One of our team members on the first one, Belinda Jamison, who painted that picture there, also painted this picture in Thailand. And we had lots of fun with the little kids standing there holding hands in the middle. And this guy, he'd be what, 9, 10 now? That baby. And you get to meet him if you come. But yeah, like I said, passionate about younger kids. And you know what? Those kids, they might not see Christianity acted out so much here. They might not even see it in their Sunday school or their church, but they will see it if they come on a mission trip. Next slide. Okay. Still trying to talk you into coming. These are some reasons. That's actually a tea plantation, and we can take you to a tea plantation. We've been to a few tea plantations, and they're lots of fun. Where we are, because it's high up in the mountains, there are a lot of these tea plantations. So they're just a few reasons why it would be great for you to come. There's lots of others too. So I won't read them out. You can read them. Yeah, next slide. Okay, we're getting to the part of answering questions now. So the dates are going to be over Christmas. I know that this is not perfect for a lot of people, but you know what? It's actually a good time to be in Thailand, because we can have a lot of Christmas ministries where, you know, you probably find that in Thailand you can share the gospel just out on the streets and in the public more readily than you can here. So I don't know what we will do, but we might sing Christmas carols, we might run a Christmas fun day, we might do get gifts for all the village children. I don't know, but it's going to be over Christmas. It'll probably be about 2 weeks long, which is also not long, but it's amazing what God can do in that time. The biggest cost, and the first question is always costs. I've already been asked this a couple of times today. The big cost is always the airfare, like I said. It's very expensive, and it's also very hard to get because the planes are absolutely full. Everybody that has not travelled for the last 3 to 4 years, they're all travelling now. Believe me, I went to book my car in at the airport car park 2 days ago. My car is going to be parked way out in the back boonies, in the back lot, miles and miles away from the airport, with thousands upon thousands upon thousands of other cars. And I have to park it there in the dirt, leave it there for 2 weeks, walk through all these other cars. They're all so narrow. I've already parked there once, so I know. And walk to the road where a bus will pick me up, pick Simon and I up and take us to the airport, the international airport. All those people are travelling. They're all travelling. Every plane is full. So you praying people, and I hope this is all of you, please pray for this airfare situation. It's almost impossible to get group airfares. In the good old days, we could buy a group airfare, And then you could decide at a later date, hey, I think I'll go, and we could just add you in, change names, pull people out. We're not going to be able to do that now because there's so many people flying. You have to come up the front with your money, and you have to book the airfare as soon as you can once we decide what we're doing. The cheapest airfares by far are a new airline that's flying out of Brisbane. It hasn't started yet, but it's starting soon. It's just started flying out of Sydney and Melbourne, but it's a Vietnamese airline, and they are way cheaper because they're a new airline. So we're looking at flying with them. It would be a third the price with them than the next one up. And that means we'd be going through Hanoi. And Vietnam, if you think back at that map, is very close to Thailand. So we could actually even go overland from Vietnam. But they also fly to Chiang Mai. So we would go from Brisbane to Hanoi to Chiang Mai. And I have mentioned, you might have seen mentioned somewhere, that I'm even contemplating staying in Vietnam for a couple of days. I've got some great contacts there, and there was a lady here that spoke. You might have remembered her. What's her name? Kimberly. My daughter's name, Kimberly. And Belinda and Scott have just been over there with her for a few weeks as well. And it will be no problem to be involved in a mission or a ministry there, or even just to have a bit of a break or a holiday, whatever's needed. So there's a good chance on the way back, probably, where it doesn't sort of tie up so much. We've got a fair bit of a layover there, and we might stay in Vietnam. So that's part of it. I'd really like you to say whether you think that's a good idea or not too, and certainly be praying about that. So please pray about those airfares. That will be the first bit of money you will need to cough up if you're coming, and it's a substantial amount.
This will be your first payment, all up for everything. What's the ballpark figure?
It's up there. The ballpark figure is 1,400 to 1,500. That's the airfare only. On top of that, there will be other costs, and these costs are much cheaper because we stay at Siler Home, and they provide a lot of our transport and accommodation and food. So that will be approximately $800 to $900. So that, if you add them together, you're looking at the total cost, which really is not a huge amount more than we've paid before, but I do realise that it's a big amount. You know, don't let finances stop you though, because number one, you might find that there's people that will support you, that will help finance you. We've had people come before and their whole outreach has been paid for by somebody else. It's happened a couple of times. And you might also find that you've got, I don't know, grandparents or somebody else that would like to support you financially, and they might give you a gift. You know, you can also fundraise. I've seen a lot of people on teams that they haven't got any money, but they do their personal fundraising. We can also do team fundraising, and we hope to do that a bit too, because we hope to have a project the team will be doing. I think they're all answered. Anything else there? Has anybody got any questions from that? Yep. Very good question, because we're just not quite sure what's happening with insurance. Yep. Okay, so the question was, does this money cover insurance? Is that correct? Yeah, so that's a great question, and it's been something that's been going around in my mind a lot in the last couple of weeks. Previously, we have been taken mission trips and we've been covered under a church's insurance, and I don't know what this happens here. I don't know what the church, if the church has insurance that we can, have you looked into it? Still looking into that, which is awesome because it probably saves you about $200. Okay, because that's you. But the other thing is that if you're taking insurance out as a group or a family, It's much, much cheaper because you're doing the same trip, the same flights, the same everything. You often get 4 for the price of maybe 1. So if you have to take out personal insurance, and everybody will have to be insured, okay? You can do it that way. You can also, we can look at taking out team insurance. So it's an ongoing thing, to answer your question. I use insurance on my credit card, so when I'm travelling, if you've got a credit card, I don't know if it's all credit cards, but it has a travel insurance included in it, and so that's what I personally use. And I've had to claim on we've had to claim on some Thailand trips too. We've never had any trouble with claims. So that's insurance. Any other questions? Yeah. Okay, great question. No, you actually just looked it up this week, and they've dropped the mandatory requirement to be vaccinated for COVID. And also, there's no vaccines that you have to have. But in saying that, it's between you and your doctor, really. So I've always encouraged people to see their doctors and talk about what their doctor feels that you should have. There's a lot of mosquito-borne diseases. Probably not so much malaria, but there's a lot of dengue and Zika virus, chikungunya. I know all the viruses with mosquitoes, I hate them. So there's a lot of mosquito-borne. Japanese encephalitis is another one, which I've had vaccinated against. Cost me $15 to have it in Thailand, and it cost me $300 if you get it done here in Australia. Same vaccine. Yeah. So I'm not going to give you advice. That's between you and your doctor completely. So have a talk to your doctor about that. And yeah, I don't think we've had anybody get anything serious, have we? I mean, we've all had the barley belly. What do they call it for Thailand? Looking at Marie. Yes. Yeah, we've had a few teams that have had that 24-hour bug from food poisoning or whatever. None of us have had anything that I can think of that's been serious that might have been avoided with a vaccine, but that's for you to talk with your doctor. Any other questions? Yeah. Chance to see anything touristy?
Like, I mean, I'd like to talk to an elephant.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a picture on one of our pictures there of some of the people bathing with an elephant. And you will see elephants. And we will go to, I said we might go to a tea plantation. Yeah, absolutely, we will do some touristy things. And we might do that at the beginning because it's really good team building to do that sort of thing, to go together to some of these tourist things. The pastor there, I know they came out to Australia and we showed them around Stanthorpe and we showed them around the area, and they said, next time you come, and this will be the next time, isn't it? Incredible. We want you to have a great time as a tourist, and we want to show you places and do some experiences. So yeah, every trip we've done some great things, fun things and touristy things.
I've got a daughter-in-law that comes from Chiang Mai.
Oh, awesome.
And as far as I know, her father's still alive in Chiang Mai.
Okay.
But her mum died when she was very young.
Okay.
So I might even be able to talk one of my grandsons into coming.
Awesome. That would be so cool. And we've had grandparents taking grandchildren before, and it would be good to make some connections with people that you've got there in Chiang Mai too.
Yeah, because I know when the oldest one, when he was real little, his mum said all these people kept on going on about the fact he had this light coloured skin.
Okay.
Because he's half Aussie.
He's half what?
Half Australian.
Okay, and half Thai. Awesome. Awesome. That's great.
But his little brother looked just like the picture of the little one we showed
Okay. Okay.
earlier.
That's cool. That's great.
But he's starting to change a bit.
Yep. And your question?
Is it possible just to have just a one-way ticket with the team and do the rest yourself? Or
Absolutely. And I think on this team there are some people that will have a one-way ticket and they might be going on to another country, but you can absolutely do that. You can stay on, and we've had that on quite a few teams where people have stayed on there and got the value out of that airfare, because the airfare is the big cost. That's return. Yeah, so this airline, it's actually, they don't, in the olden days, it was always cheaper to buy a return ticket, but not anymore. It's basically just the price. That is the price of 4 tickets. So from Brisbane to Vietnam, Vietnam to Chiang Mai, Chiang Mai back to Vietnam, and Vietnam to Brisbane. And each ticket stays the same whether it's one way or you take whatever leg you take. No, this allows for 40 kilos at airfare. But please, please, please don't bring 40 kilos. keep it. We absolutely have a rule that you have to be able to carry your own stuff, even if you're 9 years of age. You have to be able to pull your own wheelie bag or carry your own baggage, because yeah, we will talk about those sort of questions a bit closer on. We will be having, if you're keen on coming, we'll be having team events which are going to be compulsory for you to come along to, where we will talk about all the nitty-gritty. And believe me, there's a lot of nitty-gritty to talk about, toileting and all these sorts of things. So we'll leave that fun for later on. But yeah, it's basically just what you're wearing here. Sorry? Do you? You're different to my daughters. My daughter's going on a 6-week trip in 2 weeks' time, and she packs the day before. Anyway, any more questions? Okay, if we can go on to the next one. Okay, before we go on to this, I just want to have our resident Thai expert, Upen, stand up. Upen and I have talked at a few events, and it's actually really funny. It's almost like a comedy act, but I promise it won't be today. So I would just like Upen to she's going to just invite you to Thailand. We met Upen on a mission trip, on one of these trips, and we brought her back here. And she is our resident translator and Thai expert. And she's worked at Siler Home from the very beginning. And I would just like her in a few minutes just to invite you guys along.
Sawadee-ka. Sawadee-ka is mean hi, everyone. I'm so thank you, Lord, for sending me here. I used to know a pastor, and we start ministry together in Chiang Rai first, and then we moved to Chiang Mai. I know the staff very well because they are very good heart for kids and do everything for them, not for themselves. Like Jenny said the first time, I met Jenny and the team year 2015 in ministry at Siler. In that time, Jenny don't know speak English, because I know my English not good enough for the foreigner to hear what I say. My accent sometimes make people think wrong. I just try to keep silent sometimes. And that's good to see the team come to Chiang Mai in ministry, because in that time I'm in another city. Pastor tell me, Pipin is my sister. Pipin, the team from Australia here before, and her name Jenny. She bring her team here. I say, how look like? He say, I can't imagine how look like. You can come and see. And in that time,
so disappointed.
in that time I came and I met Jenny first and talked to me. I massage her feet and do something. Yeah, I'm really happy when see the team coming because leave Australia for traveling for a while, and then when I saw people come back, came from Australia to Thailand, I saw exciting. And after that, Jenny asked me, would you like to visit us in Stanthorpe? I used to live in Sydney before. I said, where's Stanthorpe? And she just sent email or chat on the messenger, tell me where is it, how many people live in there, and blah, 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 many things. I say, let me pray to God. I pray to Lord, and when the team left, in that time I met a brother in Christ, is Brother Chris and Sister Margaret. They say, if you go to Sydney, to Queensland or whatever, you can live with us. And then I just say, I just pray to Lord. I feel, Lord, let me come, because everything step by step is very smooth to do the things. And when I came here, Brother Chris and Sister Margaret picked me up at the airport. I really don't know the airport. They have that far from Stanthorpe. And he sent message, let me know, Upen, if you don't see us, you just stay there. We will pick you up. I normally allow many countries, but by myself, I say, why me, I lost? I don't know. I get the long plan too. I don't have to do whatever I can do. I just pray to Lord, and everything, thank God. I'm here now. I would like to invite you, if interesting what Jenny said about the Siler Home, we will feel in love with them, because Pastor Getayo talked to me about, they're really disappointed. Many teams from America, from everywhere, will say, we will come and see you, we will come and see you, but this is coming. But for Stanthorpe team, when they say, you're going, you're coming, they're really impressed. They're really waiting for, even COVID. They said, oh, we missed him, we want to see them, not just come for work, but we want to meet them and spend time and talk. And when last time team doing your work, hard job, pastor feel bad, because I never see people work like that. Thai person is lazy. You can see, they non-stop. Even we break time. I talk like that, not is mean who want to come, just stop not coming. No, I mean, they say like that too, because we are poor heart with them. And in that time, he said, Upen, in this time, I would not give the job for too much for them. I just let them relax and take to see many things different, see the kids where they are living or whatever. Yes, I would like to, if God put your heart, want to come to visit the kids, or not just Siler Home, is around there. They need people teach English. They need people help many things in your heart want to do. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Upen. And as Adrian had mentioned earlier on, it really is all about the relationships. It will blow you away, because you go there to be blessed and to do these things, and you're just blown away by the relationships that you will form with the staff there and the children. And it's an ongoing thing. It might be a short-term mission, but it has long-term effects. What you can do right now, and I'd really like you to look at that first one. I really want you to think about people that you might like to ask. They don't have to be Christians. We've taken quite a few people that are not Christians. We've had people become Christians. We've had people baptized on these trips. So think about if there's others in your life or in your peripheral that might be interested in coming, and let them know. They will have to fill out an application form, so it's not like if you invite them that they're coming, but I want you just to extend that out and think about other people. If you've got a passport, make sure it's up to date. It's got to have at least 6 months on it. Absolutely cannot break that rule. My own sister-in-law turned up to the airport just before COVID, and she only had 5 months on a passport, and they wouldn't let her on, and so she missed 10 days of her trip getting her a new passport. If you haven't got a passport, you can get one now. You know, this is not going to be the only trip, I'm sure, God's going to take you on, and it might be a tourist trip, it might be all sorts of things. So get a passport. Passports are always a good thing because it shows that you're ready to go. Okay? I've had to go. I woke up one morning at 9 o'clock and I was on a flight to Europe. I didn't have any idea of this by 5 o'clock that evening. What would I have done if I didn't have a passport? God said go, and I went. There's got to be an application form which you can fill out. You can start vaccinations. There's talk to your doctor about that if you want vaccinations. A lot of them you have to take a month apart, so you need to start them earlier on if you're having hepatitis vaccinations and different ones like that. Do some fundraising, start building that prayer support team. Because not only do we need a prayer support team as a team, it's great if you've got a prayer support team behind you individually. So you can start doing that now. Hey, I'm thinking of going on this mission trip. Would you really pray for me and see what God's telling you? Will you just be there in prayer? Will you support me? And if you've got friends or people in your life that can do that, grab onto them. Learn some Thai words, sawadika, and we've got our expert here. She'll teach you a few words. You know, they love it. They love it if you can speak some of the words in Thai. You can go on Google Translate. You can go on millions of YouTubes that will tell you how to speak these words. And build up your spice resistance, Alan. You don't have to eat spicy food, but you are absolutely missing out if you don't eat some food with some spice in it. So, and it's a built-up thing. You can't expect, I'm going to turn up and eat this spicy food, and you'll be out. You can't do it like that. You have to start now. So, I know I've got it as a joke, but it's actually quite serious. But start building up your spice resistance. Put your hot sauce on everything. Next slide. It's true, isn't it? You absolutely do. This is just a slide of some photos, but before we go on, I'm going to soon have sit up, but I was just wondering if there's anybody, and I was thinking of Marie, maybe some young people that would just like to give a couple of words, testimony of what it meant to them coming on this trip, coming on a Thai trip. So anyone?
Thank you, Jenny. So the first time we went, I went along to a meeting like this, mainly to support Jenny because I knew Jenny and we were good friends. And I thought, I don't want no one to turn up for her. And I was sitting there and there were so many people in the room, there was nowhere really to sit. And I remember standing, and Adrian had always talked about Africa and how Africa was the place that he had in mind, that he would like to visit one day. And I went home and passed on to him, you know, all the information that Jenny had given that day and how she had shared about as a family how awesome it would be to go along to, and how she was encouraging people with young children to go. And Anna was our youngest at that stage, so she was 9 and Brock was 11. And I remember thinking prior to that, oh, that's such hard work, that's going to be so full on, and I'm the mum, so I'm going to have to be in charge of that. And I felt like a bit overwhelmed, and I only had 2 children. And after I told Adrian all about it, during that week, he got home from work late one night and he just said, we should do it. And I'm like, do what? And he said, we're going, all of us. And I was like, really? And he said, yep, all 4, we're just going. God really spoke to me today, and I just really feel like that's the right thing to do. And straight away I was like, oh, okay, well, if he says we can do it, then we must be able to do it. And so we went along, and honestly, it has changed not only our lives individually, but as a family, like with our kids. They would give testimony to that it has impacted them significantly to be the people that they are today. As a result of seeing how other people lived and just their culture and being fed by them, and just how we, went along basically blindly, but how we listened to, that call then on our life, and how that has impacted us significantly. So I would encourage everyone to come along.
It certainly was the blind leading the blind, because we had no idea where we were going to go, what this ministry was going to be like, where it was. There was nothing. It's incredible now because we know a lot of those things. But we knew nothing on that first trip, so it was such an adventure. And everyone that was on that trip, and Alan and Meryl, who else was on that first trip here? Yeah, talk to any of us. I mean, it wasn't without its challenges. It had major, major challenges, but it was just incredible stepping out in faith, and what has happened since then as we've gone on and on. The next slide. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go through this then. Sid's going to talk. I mentioned how prayer is super, super important. Okay, there's a whole lot of challenges on here for praying for yourself. Okay, these are often excuses that I hear, and I mean they're really, relevant excuses. They're valid, very valid excuses. And so there are often a lot of places to start your praying there. Things that you maybe are challenged with and fearful of. So I'll just read it out if you like. I have no money, always number 1. I'm fearful about flying, and we've had people so fearful about flying, and it's just been amazing to see them go. You know, and we had, I'm not looking at you, Rita. I was actually also thinking about on our first trip, we had a man there that was terrified to get on the flight. So my husband, who's an airline pilot, he spent a lot of time with him talking through the flying thing and working through it. And so there are answers to all sorts of things here, you know. So if you have a fear of flying, people have a fear of a new culture. What am I going to do? They have a fear of the food. It's going to be spicy. And you don't have to eat spicy food, but they have a fear of feeling left out in a team. Often in a team, that can happen, and that's something that we want to work towards it not happening. They have a fear of homesickness, and yes, people get really homesick. Fear of Asia. I know so many people that have an absolute fear of Asia. It's because it's portrayed by the media in certain ways. Fear of getting sick, of course. Can't keep up, making a fool of yourself. A lot of us have been there, done that. I've been there with a lot of those things myself. My children are too young, I'm too old, my faith is weak, but the coffee is so bad. And that can be a valid excuse. Chris. So praying for yourself. They are all excuses I've heard often, not just once. Every one of those excuses I've heard, or every one of those reasons. I shouldn't call them excuses, because God can conquer them. Next page, praying for the team. So Oh, I really want your prayer for planning this, for those airfares, how it's going to happen, how it's going to work out. Praying for the people God wants on the team, for provision of finances and good health, for preparation prior to going, so important. Great friendships and inclusiveness, that everybody feels included. Safety, both physical and spiritual, leadership of the team, divine appointments, and wisdom. So I just took those off the top of my head, but there's lots more. And the next page, praying for the ministry. And often we forget to do this. We're too busy praying about ourselves and we're praying for the team. But it's really super important to pray for those over there, for those children, for the staff, for the local area, for the hill tribes, for the church. Mercy Church is the church that is right adjacent to Siler Home, and the Siler Home children and everybody are involved in that, and if you come, you'll be going to that church. And to outreach in the hill tribe areas. They are the poorest people of Thailand. A lot of them are stateless. A lot of them cannot educate their children. They cannot move around. They're trapped in that area and often cannot go past borders, which you will see. We'll probably go through some of these border controls. Pray for Thailand. Pray for the Thai church, please. 1% of Thailand are Christians. 1%. Pray for the missionaries that are in Thailand. Pray for the ministries in Thailand. Pray for the government of Thailand. And you can learn a lot about this by just doing some Googling and finding out some things. Pray for the schools and the hospitals, for all the different spheres of influence in the country. So I'm going to just ask Sid. Sid's been on short-term missions. Him and Merle have been incredible prayer supporters, praying for specific people, praying for young people, praying for teams. And I think Sid's just going to talk a little bit about what's needed in prayer. Yeah, come at the front so they can see your beautiful face.
Do they have broccoli in Thailand? Yes. Merlot, that's it. Not going. I can't add much to all that stuff she's put up there. I just want to put it 4 areas under an acrostic. W-U-H-H. Woof. Say woof. Woof. Oh, grief. W-U-H-H, so you don't forget it. The first thing is this. W is for warfare. Some spirits come around and they will wonder who the team is and what are the team doing. They're just sticky beaking. I've discovered that by experience. There are other spirits who will come around to try and terrorise. We need to be praying protection for the whole team. Every one of them as a team, that the Lord would place a protection of angels around them, that any demonic stuff will not touch them. Right? That's number one. Number 2, the U is unity. To have a bad night's sleep, to eat too much spice. If someone says something that you aren't feeling well and you take that negatively, can create a disunity. When the team goes over, they'll have one purpose, one direction, one aim, and one mind. And the enemy would love to come and put a hole in all of that. Disunity takes away power and effectiveness. So we need to pray. There will be a unity. We need to pray for the maintaining of that unity amongst the team. Every single one of them. H, health. Look, whole new culture, a new country, different weather patterns, different food. Any little bit of something that you're not used to could create ill health. There could be viruses, there could be diseases, but we need to place again a protection around the team that there will be no ill health, that they will be perfectly healthy. And look, don't hold back with your praying, guys. We can pray beyond our imagination for whatever we would like God to do. Keep them all healthy. Keep them away from all that would make them ill. God will hear that. I just want to mention one little instance. In the Solomons, we had lots of students every year, and every lot of students, there'd be 2 or 3 that have malaria, and we wouldn't see them for days. I got tired of that, because they believed that malaria is part of Solomon Island culture, because it's always been there. So I got the community together, 4 Solly Island families and all the students. I said, guys, we're going to ask the Lord, and we're going to take the authority at the same time over every malarial mosquito on Onapuzu, and we're going to send it out into the sea. Don't send it to another village where you don't like people. Send it out to the sea. And when you say to Solly Islanders to pray against that sort of stuff, don't get in the road, you'll get punched in the face, because they come up swinging. If I was a demon in that place, I'd be knocked out. They are really vicious. And so they prayed that every malarious mosquito would go out off on a person, not come back. Go, 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 go. For the next year, we had no malaria. Adults might have had some malaria. No student had malaria. And I showed them what we can do by bringing down the authority and the presence and the power of God. And it worked. The next year they stopped praying and the malaria came back. So guys, against the enemy, protection, maintain unity and maintain good health, right? The 4th H is home. When they come home, they will be so excited and they'll be wondering when the next team is going, and it will be contagious and start to touch other people listening. Oh, I wonder if I can go and get some of that blessing too. The rejoicing of homecoming is very essential, and it can be a contagion. Righto? What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to last. There's no notes. So I forgot what I was going to say. W, warfare, unity, U, and H, health, and the 4th H, coming home. And this is the last thing I want to say. Yeah, there it is. I asked the church once, what came first, mission or the church? And no one answered. Mission came first, and out of mission came the church. Jesus came as the missionary, and out of that came the church. So any local church needs to have a priority in mission. So when you go across over there, it's the team doing the stuff, but back here is the other half of the team building a fence around them, building a covering of the presence of God in keeping them okay, being effective in all they do. Thank you, my girl.
Thank you.
And I was joking about broccoli.
It's too expensive up there anyway. Aren't we glad that we've got Sid in our corner, Sid and Merle? Fantastic. And I know that they will be praying for the team. So just so grateful for that, because it's so important. You've probably heard that analogy of holding the other end of the rope. So the team is down there, maybe over the cliff, maybe down in a well, and the people praying are holding the other end to keep them safe. And if that rope breaks and nobody's praying, then you just crash. You just crash and burn. It's so important. It's so important, and that's why I like to spend a lot of time on prayer. So yeah, all good. Maybe the next slide is maybe the last one. I was going to get this music because our theme song right from the very beginning has been about carrying our candle and going into the world with that light. And this time in Thailand, we're there over Christmas, New Year, very special time in Thailand, and we will have lanterns and light, and we will, like last time, I think there was a picture somewhere along the line, we lit these lanterns and we threw them up and they floated into the air, and we prayed over them, and we committed things to God. I found it very moving. I don't know about the rest of you, but I found it very moving. So it's about taking that light. And so I've formed a Facebook event page. I'm keeping it private, so I can only invite my friends. So I'm trusting that Marie and other people will invite different people onto that place. It's a great place to ask questions, because if you've got a question and some of us answer it, if I answer it, other people can see too, and they don't need to ask that same question. So I'd encourage you to go on to that event. We'll change the date, so it'll be probably, I don't know what date we'll put in it, but it'll be a place where you can ask questions. Of course, you can text me and you can message me, probably not ring me, but you can ring me later on, but at the moment, and ask questions as well. And I'm sure you can ask Marie and Adrian and anybody else as well if you've got questions or you want prayer or whatever. So I think that's the end. And yeah, I hope that's been informative for you. It's meant to be information, so I hope it's helped you. Some of us are going over to the RSL for lunch. We were going to go to the Thai restaurant, which would have been great, but it's a special time in Thailand at the moment. It's the Songkran, how do you say it, Upen? Songkran Festival. You might have seen it on telly where they throw water all over each other. I actually love that. And that's happening right now, and so the people with the Thai restaurant are obviously celebrating that festival, and they've got it closed. So we're going to go over to the RSL, and I've booked a table. Don't know how many people are going to come, but there's a table in my name, Jenny Fraser. We'll see if we fill it up. If there's more people, they can just grab a table elsewhere, hopefully. But yeah, bring your questions there as well if you want to come. So, any more questions? Okay, all good? Yeah, there will be a cut-off time if you want those cheaper airfares. So as soon as we get this up and going, you'll need to jump on board really quickly to get those airfares. If you can't and you put it off and you wait till a few months down the track, you'll probably pay twice the price for your airfare. I mean, I could be proven wrong and you get a really cheap one too. But from the past and from what I've noticed has happened, it'll just keep going up, 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 up. And because we can't do group fares. So yeah, there will be a cut-off time if you want to pay that airfare. If you want to pay a more expensive one, you can wait a bit longer. But we'll definitely have team times and team training probably around October, November months. Okay? All right. Airfares to Chiang Mai return are currently about 1,400, and that will keep going up. They're based on that, which is half the price of the next airline. We can't even look at Thai Airways. We've flown Thai Airways before because they're like 3,500 return. Yep. Yeah, most likely fly. That's not a problem flying. It's only like an hour or something back to Hanoi and then back to Brisbane. No. It depends what passport you have. If you have an Australian passport, you don't need a visa. Actually, if you go overland, you do have to only get a 15-day one. If you fly in, it's 30 days. Yeah, I think it's no visa needed for New Zealand passport. You'd have to have a look online. So depending on what passport you hold. Okay, all good? Thank you so much. Yeah, I haven't done it yet. Yeah, I did an intention of interest form because I wanted to see whether people were actually interested, and I got enough people interested that now somewhere along the line we will do an application form, so it'll be more involved. And when I have it, you will know about it. Maria will let you know, someone will let you know. So, you know, I think last time we had 26, and I seriously thought 26 was a little bit too many. I would like to see it maybe between 15 and 20 people, personally. But, you know, we're open. If God wants more will come. And we'll have better leaders and more leaders and all that. So there's a whole lot of things that have to happen. Okay? Thank you.